Bungie just buffed the loot drops in both normal and Legend Onslaught to promote players to strive for full 50 wave completions. So, what's the best farming method now? How big was the buff? And are all changes in the game? Well, I can say for a fact that all three aspects of the announced changes are alive, even though the patch notes didn't list the Trophies of Bravery buffs. For the changes, one is good, one isn't enough, and one is maybe bugged, but in a good way. To explain everything, I'm going to give you some hard before and after numbers. And I'll say this now, you aren't swimming in loot drastically more than last week, no matter what you might have heard. Most people are counting all the mid-activity drops you get, but some are caused by the completion of the 6 weekly challenges. My data has those drops omitted. To understand the buffs, we need to know the old drop rates. Both normal and legend had different amounts of Trophies of Bravery, which I'll dub as tokens moving forward, and weapon drops. I'll list both token and weapon totals in these charts, as well as a simplified drop category, which adds them together since 10 tokens equals 1 weapon from the chest in the Hall of Champions. And before people comment, there is not enough evidence given by Bungie or the community to say for certain if a weapon drop from Onslaught versus the chest by Shaxx have different shiny odds or interactions with attunement. Additionally, we're only talking guaranteed loot drops here. I have not included the random tokens you can get from bonus rounds or tormentors. Alright, now pre-buff you can earn 17 tokens, 7 weapons, or 7.7 overall drops on normal, 27 tokens, 11 weapons, or 13.7 drops on legend. Now you can earn 23 tokens, 7 weapons, or 9.3 drops on normal, and 35 tokens, 12 weapons, or 15.5 drops on legend. That's an increase by 1.6 to 1.8 drops. Zooming in, we see that the token buff wasn't really that big. Not even enough to buy an extra weapon on either difficulty. However, the bigger changes come down to extra weapon drops, and this is where it gets weird. The bonus guaranteed weapon upon a full 50 wave completion is working as normal. Defeating the final boss will give you 3 weapon drops on normal and 4 on legend, one higher than pre-patch. However, the second method of a bonus weapon drop, which I'll dub the Escalating RNG drop, has an odd behavior. How it's described is that by playing Onslaught you have a random chance for a brave weapon to drop upon any wave completion. Each time you don't get the drop rate increases until it does drop, with the drop being guaranteed upon a full 50 wave clear. And again, this is the Escalating RNG drop, separate from the guaranteed bonus drop from a full 50 wave clear. Simply put, between waves 1 through 49 you have a chance of a weapon to drop. Wave 50 completion, it is guaranteed. The error, in our favor, is that this drop can occur at least twice per activity given my experience. It doesn't turn off once it drops the first time. Out of 6 full clears post-patch, I've gotten these Escalating RNG drops to happen twice per activity in 5 of my clears. This double proccing is not guaranteed to occur, which makes me believe it is unintended. If it was, then all of my clears should have had 2 of these drops, just one of them would be upon a full clear. Unless the writing and my interpretation are both incorrect, as you could interpret it as you always have a chance for a bonus weapon to drop, but if it never occurs, it'll be a guaranteed drop on a full clear. Very confusing, but it's bonus loot. Now, what does this all say about the best farming method? Since that Escalating RNG drop has a lot of unknowns, like what's the base rate, how does it increase, is there a reasoning to why it can occur multiple times, etc., I won't base my conclusion on them, but they will be noted separately in the charts. To quantify this further, we need the unit of time for completion of these activities. Since they vary a bit based on skill, map, and difficulty, I present them in a range that should represent nearly all players. For the popular 10-wave legend farm, I factored in 1 minute of load times as a best case scenario. Depending on your situation, these load times can be longer. And to simplify further, we will be looking at overall drops. Looking at the data, your drops per minute is now better on a full legend clear compared to farming legend 10 waves. 0.258 versus 0.23. Before the buff, it was flat out worse. Now, is it worth the increased difficulty? It depends. If your squad can guarantee legend 50 wave clears with no issues, it is the best farm. If we do factor in those Escalating RNG drops, the full clear looks even better since that drop is guaranteed and you can currently get an additional random drop. Without numbers from Bungie, we just don't know how impactful that is in the long term. Of course, if you can't do a full Legend run and want an easier experience, the 10-wave farm is still top-notch. Nothing has changed. Even so, the data is still fairly close, and I'm sure people are wondering if it is enough, especially for the effort. If we're talking loot overall, absolutely yes. We're getting a crazy amount of loot for our time, even if you do a full normal run. There's even more than what I listed, as you have a 30 to 50% chance to get a token upon completing a bonus objective or defeating any Tormentor. This beats out the likes of Iron Banner and the Coil in terms of legendary loot drops. As for the question of, did this fix the problem? I think kind of, but not really. The problem Bungie was aiming to address was the Legend 10-wave farm. Bungie doesn't like players doing the least amount of effort to get the most rewards. In that regard, without nerfing the first chest of Legend difficulty, I think we need a little more. I'd suggest another increase in tokens of the later sets and or another guaranteed weapon drop, ideally on wave 40 of both difficulties. That way it doesn't feel like people wasted their time if they get defeated at the finish line. And this isn't me being greedy, I'm just trying to math it out so full runs are definitively more worth it than 10-wave resets. TLDW, we got an increase of about 2 guaranteed loot drops for full completions, with an additional chance of up to 2 more drops. A full Legend clear is the most efficient farm, and the Legend 10-wave strat is still viable if you don't have the time or skills. Ideally, Bungie will still further nudge the upper wave rewards, but at the end of the day, play how you like and you'll get rewarded fairly. If you have any questions or want to give your feedback on Onslaught and its loot, comment down below. And if you liked today's video, consider subscribing and joining the Sundog Gaming Discord. As always, I am your Commander Pika. Be kind, have fun, and I'll see you on the battlefield.